Under the light of the full moon, a battle raged. A warrior with a bloody face shouted orders, demanding that no one escape. Nearby, two men clashed swords in the dark, their faces grim. An arm was severed and its owner collapsed, struck down in pain. Bodies began to litter the ground as blood spattered, the sounds of struggle filling the night air. Amidst it all, a warrior stood over a fallen foe, ready to deliver another strike. And then there was Shuji. He stood composed, a swirling red aura around him, as if the wind itself was on his side. He stated that their enemies could not be allowed to live. A nearby warrior reacted with surprise at his declaration. Shuji moved, a blur of motion slicing through the chaos. He confronted the arrogant bounty hunters, questioning who they thought they were trying to kill. As a wounded figure cried out for help, Shuji stood firm, his energy glowing red as he dared his foes to attack. A scream of pure agony tore through the air, a man's face contorted in fear. As the bandits fell, their dark souls rose from their bodies. One of the souls recognized a figure among them, their former leader Igo, and urged him to rejoin them. Shuji calmly acknowledged their presence, observing the ghostly entities and noting the strength of their new boss. The souls boasted of their leader's power, and Shuji agreed to their request to meet him. A sinister grin spread across his face as he declared that their current leader would be consumed entirely. Suddenly, the former leader, Igo, charged forward, his eyes glowing an aggressive blue. He laughed menacingly, swinging his sword at those nearby. A voice called his name, causing him to stop in surprise. He screamed in fury, demanding to know who dared to speak his name. A powerful, swift attack struck him, and he recoiled. It was Shuji. Igo struggled to block the rapid assault, but was thrown backward, injured and defeated. He cursed Shuji, demanding to know the intruder's identity. Shuji stood calmly amidst the gore, his spear held steady, unsettlingly still bodies hanging from its shaft, accompanied by menacing red souls. Igo stared in wide-eyed shock, questioning what kind of madman would impale people on a spear. The souls of his dead comrades swirled around him, asking why he alone was left alive. Shuji and the souls leered with terrifying grins, beckoning Igo to come closer. Tears streamed down Igo's face as he whimpered. Who the hell are you? He screamed desperately, calling Shuji a demon while the dead souls called for him to join them on their free ticket to hell. Lost in the darkness, Igo pleaded for help, his voice choked with terror. A terrifying red energy engulfed Shuji, transforming him into a demonic form with piercing eyes that radiated immense power. In one swoop, he cut Igo's head clean off. He stood over his fallen opponent, his weapon stained with blood, his own eyes wide with a mix of intensity and unease. The silence hung heavy as he recalled a forbidden ritual. Calling a name 3 times can send a soul straight to the underworld. A slight smirk played on his lips, acknowledging the chilling effectiveness of the power that had just claimed another soul. His mind drifted back. Under a vast, starlit sky, the silent mountains stood witness to a memory. A pained sigh escaped into the misty air. Bloodied fingers gripped the cold heart ground as a younger Shuji pulled himself forward, his hands raw on the rocky surface. Sweat beaded on his brow as he cursed being the rookie stuck with this miserable scouting duty. He collapsed against a rock, breathing heavily and muttering about the military bastards who sent him there. Suddenly, a chilling feeling washed over him, and his eyes widened in terror. He snapped his head back to see a shadowy form with glowing red eyes emerging from the darkness. He questioned what that terrifying sight could be. He ran, trying to identify the horror pursuing him, wondering if it was a beast or something spectral. Terror was etched across his face as he realized this was something far worse, the dark entity looming just behind him. He stood resolute, determined not to look back. He twisted in agony as dark energy enveloped him, his internal voice screaming in defiance, urging him not to turn. A chilling voice questioned his struggle to survive, dismissing his life as worthless. The voice belonged to a dark figure with piercing red eyes, sitting unnervingly calm amidst a scene of death. The figure offered a tempting gamble, a chance to escape his miserable fate. Shuji glanced back with a wary expression, asking how could he trust someone like him. The dark figure laughed, complimented his bravery, and demanded his name. Shuji looked forward, startled, and finally responded, Shuji. The shadowed figure's piercing red eyes flared. What did you say? He demanded. Bruised and defiant, Shuji shouted his name again, his face contorted with pain. I will ask one more time, the figure declared, and suddenly grabbed Shuji's neck, lifting him into the air. Shuji struggled to speak, trying to repeat his name through the pain. The attack had been a forceful blur of motion, a terrifying speed he couldn't even perceive. Gripped tightly by the throat, blood dripping from his mouth, Shuji's mind raced with the chilling realization. Under the pale moon, the shadowy figure revealed his secret. If he wants to kill someone, he just has to ask for their name 3 times.
The figure spoke of a master who had bestowed this demonic power upon him. He was an old man with piercing red eyes, the embodiment of evil in the martial world, a man known as the Blood Demon, Ch.2. The memory faded, and in the present, Suji unleashed a barrage with his spear, cutting down multiple foes. He braced himself as 2 more enemies rushed him, branding him a monster and demanding his death. Yet as the fight settled, Suji's face was weary, but his mind was unexpectedly clear, sharper than it had ever been. He held his weapon, reflecting on how the demonic power he received was incomplete. It was a seed meant to consume him, but instead, he felt refreshed. Closing his eyes, he questioned what had changed. A surge of bright mystical energy surrounded his core and flowed through his entire body. A sudden realization hit him. He recalled the difference the demonic power had made in his past life, something he'd forgotten after joining the army. He remembered a lesson learned as a child in a smoky forest, the Miao tribe's breathing technique. He understood now that this was what allowed him to keep his mind clear despite the demonic power. He mused on the strange coincidence, recalling Ch.2's warning that he would lose his sanity until he completely mastered the power. A subtle, sinister smile played on his lips as he wondered what face Ch.2 would make if he found out. His thoughts were cut short by a simple call from behind. His expression turned questioning as he looked back. The masked group he had saved bowed deeply, expressing their heartfelt thanks. The woman leading them bowed respectfully, but under her hat, her sharp eyes narrowed, thinking she knew this would happen. She looked intently at Suji, wondering why someone like him was working as a simple convoy guard. He politely asked if he would be willing to continue lending them his formidable strength. Suji stood with arms crossed and gave a blunt, absolute refusal. The woman was utterly shocked. "If there's no further business, I'm leaving," Suji stated, turning to walk away. She reacted urgently, thinking she couldn't simply let him go. Determined, she moved swiftly from behind, her hand reaching not to strike, but to offer a shimmering golden token. It was a token for the Tiger Pit sect. The woman explained its importance, that taking it to their enforcement bureau in Anhui would earn him the respect of an honored guest. She offered it as a symbol of sincerity from Ch.2, a first-class escort of the Tiger Pit sect. Suji, his face spattered with blood, took the token with a questioning look. The name stirred something within him. He remembered the Tiger Pit sect, once known for their honest operations. And then his thoughts shifted to a horrific scene of burning ruins and blood, the tragic end the sect would meet years later, vanishing without a trace. He accepted the token. The woman beamed with sincere gratitude, and her group bowed low in a parting gesture, promising to meet again. Suji, serious as ever, approached a dark horse, stating his intention to borrow it. The horse recoiled dramatically, its eyes wide with terror. The woman shouted in alarm, explaining that the horse was wild and difficult. But she and her companion could only stare in disbelief as Suji effortlessly mounted the problematic horse and calmly rode away, leaving them stunned. The woman was utterly shocked, her mouth agape. She pointed in disbelief, exclaiming that the horse was so scared it had wet itself. A thoughtful expression crossed her face as she called Suji a monster for his age and incredible skill. Her companion teased her, asking if this powerful, handsome man was exactly her type. "What a rude thing to say about our benefactor," she snapped, her hand on her sword. "Are you trying to die?" No, I was just kidding, I'm sorry." The man with the eye patch quickly backtracked. She sheathed her sword, thinking she had seen something others had missed. Her group wondered what she saw in Suji's spear technique, speculating he was from a noble family. She calmly corrected them, stating it wasn't martial arts, but a military spear technique, mastered far beyond his apparent age. She concluded he was most likely the son of a powerful military family on a warrior's journey. Closing her eyes, she prayed he wouldn't ignore their sex crisis, pleading for him to save the Tiger Pit sect from the Black Dao sect. Miles away, Suji rode on, his horse having just received a stern warning not to piss again. His thoughts turned to the token in his possession. He questioned if the Tiger Pit sect was still standing and wondered about the well-being of a specific person. A chilling image appeared in his mind, a scarred smiling face, half burned. He recalled the name that went with it, Echo.